Jesus had died, and a man called Joseph from the town of Arimathea buried Jesus' body in his own new tomb. This must have been like a cave cut out of the rock. The women who followed Jesus saw where his body was put. The next day was the day of rest, the seventh day of the week, the Sabbath day. The women wouldn't go to the tomb that day, but they prepared spices to anoint his body. We'll now read Luke chapter 24, verses 1 to 12. Now on the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they and certain other women with them came to the tomb, bringing the spices which they had prepared. But they found the stone rolled away from the tomb. Then they went in and did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. And it happened, as they were greatly perplexed about this, that behold, two men stood by them in shining garments. Then, as they were afraid and bowed their faces to the earth, they said to them, "Why do you seek the living among the dead? He's not here, but is risen. Remember how he spoke to you when he was still in Galilee, saying, 'The Son of Man must be delivered into the hands of sinful men and be crucified, and the third day rise again.'" And they remembered his words. Then they returned from the tomb and told all these things to the 11 and to all the rest. It was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary the mother of James, and the other women with them who told these things to the apostles. And their words seemed to them like idle tales, and they did not believe them. But Peter arose and ran to the tomb, and stooping down, he saw the linen cloths lying by themselves, and he departed, marveling to himself at what had happened. Well, as soon as they could, at dawn on the first day of the week, the women hurried to the tomb. But something had happened. The giant stone that had been put in front of the tomb had been rolled away, the tomb was open, and the body of the Lord Jesus wasn't there. They couldn't make it out. And then they saw two men in dazzling clothes. Presumably these were angels. The women were now very frightened, but these men spoke to them. "Why are you looking in the tomb for someone who's alive? He's risen from the dead. Don't you remember he told you that this would happen?" Then they remembered his words. Yes, they had heard him say that he must be delivered into the hands of sinful men and be crucified, and on the third day rise. Yes, he had said that. They remembered now. In fact, he'd said it several times, but they hadn't taken it in. So the women ran from the tomb to tell the others. The 11 disciples and all the others who were with them were, I'm certain, all very deeply distressed. Their master had been crucified. They'd been expecting him to liberate Israel and rule as king. And then these women came and told what seemed to them much too good to be true. The disciples really had great difficulty in believing this story. However, Peter decided to look for himself. He hurried to the tomb and looked in, but there was no body. John, in his account, says a little more. Peter saw the linen cloths lying there, and the face cloth which had been on Jesus' head, not lying with the linen cloths, but folded up in a place by itself. Everything was neat and orderly. Peter went home amazed and wondering. Here's something for us to think about. God speaks to us through his word. Like the women and the disciples, do we sometimes fail to take in what God tells us?